Hello and welcome. I'm here today with PowerPoint looking at the Volkswagen ID Buzz. This is an homage to the original 1960s Type 1 bus, or the hippie van, and it uses retro styling, modern technology to basically create a new version, a completely new version of this car. And I'm here, and I have some thoughts on this, so let's go through them. As we can see here, they've definitely taken some retro styling from the original bus, but have mixed it with up-to-date contemporary features as well. So as we can see here, if we look on this bigger image here, we have the front end. It has like a slightly stubby and flat front end, which will make it a doddle for parking. This light bar is reminiscent of the ID4 and the ID3, and in the middle we've got the glorious the great big VW loop badge, which is kind of symbolizing the old bus. And over here we've got a sort of air vent slash grill, fake grill, but it probably has some self-driving parking sensor gubbins under here. And the two-tone yellow paint job gives a really summery vibe, which I really quite like. And over here we have the rear end. Again, it's quite flat, but that's what you need in a car like this. Probably offers a lot of boot space. Again, this light bar is similar to the one in front, but with slightly slimmer lights, but you can't blame them for that. And in general, this car looks very similar to the ID3, and it's an MPV that you would not be ashamed of driving. Finally, we've got the interior here. Now, this image is slightly smaller, but you can get it. So, it's mostly similar to the ID4 and ID3 interiors and obviously it has taken heavy inspiration from the BMW i3. Weirdly, I believe that car is being discontinued. But they've taken a lot of inspiration. They've taken the small gauge cluster, which has just about enough all the info you need, and they have the new Volkswagen infotainment system. Now, more on that later, as that is not the best system, but it is very laggy, and they've opted for haptic feedback, which is very laggy, but they should be updating it according to the engineers, which would be quite good. And obviously you can tell that you sit up high and you have a commanding driving position, which is kind of what you want in a car like this. Plenty of storage. It is it's pretty genius and ergonomic in here, so nothing really much to complain with. And they are obviously going to use eco-friendly materials, so honestly, in general, the interior is a very nice place to be, like a house. Now, our specs. So, right now, as of now, it has a single electric motor with 204 horsepower, 310 Newton meters of torque, driving the rear wheels. Obviously, this isn't a performance car. This is a family minivan, which you're going to, and 204 horsepower, 310 Newton meters of torque is perfectly fine for this. As standard, comes with a 77 kilowatt battery, which is a decent battery. It's not the biggest, but then again, they're probably going to release more models with higher batteries, with better batteries, and that's how they do it with electric cars. This battery pack is estimated to give around 250 miles of range, which honestly, compared to other electric cars, is not that good. It's a bit shabby, but let's not forget this is a van. So, and obviously it is less aerodynamic and has a lot of other factors, but maybe when they do tell us the actual figure, we might be surprised. Now, at the moment, it only has 5 seats. Obviously, before you rage at your computer, don't worry, they will release a 7-seater variant for the bigger families. But right now, with 5 seats, you get 1,121 litres of space. That is an astronomical amount. So if you go to IKEA to get your kids, I don't know, a cupboard or something like that, you'll have no issue fitting that in. And especially if you're an Uber driver or something with this thing. Honestly, boot space and in general the interior space you won't have to worry about. It looks like it's got a high roof, comfortable seats, so honestly, as a minivan for Uber drivers, as long as your commutes are not too far and your commutes are generally mostly in the city, then you should be fine. Now, this car will go on later. It will go on sale later this year, and is estimated to start around £43,000. Now you might, and obviously this is a van. It's German, so it's probably going to, if you really spec this up, it'll probably go up to around £50,000 to £60,000. But and they are also going to be releasing a VW camper van edition of this, which will obviously fetch even more dosh or money. But for now, obviously it's a van. It is a generally decent price. Now, we're coming to the end of our pictures, but obviously every car has its pros and cons. So in terms of cons, let's get them out of the way. As I previously mentioned earlier, the infotainment system for VWs is obviously getting very laggy and glitching, and obviously it can't go on like this, because why would you want a really good and well-designed car like this to be ruined by just a little insignificant thing such as the infotainment system? And hopefully they do update that. Now, the range for a van might be a little unappealing, but it is just an estimate, and when we get the actual figure, maybe we might be surprised. In terms of cons, obviously this is a car which I really like, and you know it's a good car when I'm reviewing it. A van, it's a van, not a sports car. It's a van, but it's actually so interesting to look at and to talk about that you can't help it. So for families going around the city, and if you have around £50,000 to spend on a van, I'd highly recommend going with this one. Thank you very much for watching, and have a lovely day. Let me know if you like this type of content in the comments. If you don't like it, I'll stop doing it. If you do like it, I'll make some more. Whatever you guys would like to see. Now, have a good day, subscribe if you want to, and see you in the next video.